March 12th, 2026. A desert wash near Kolb Road in southeast Tucson. For 40 days, this city has been on edge. But on this Thursday afternoon, the tension finally snapped. A maintenance crew, performing a routine check of a drainage area, stumbled upon a scene that brought the FBI and the Pima County Sheriff's Department racing to the dirt. A body had been found. For several agonizing hours, the national headline didn't say a discovery, it said Nancy. The location was just miles from where the 84-year-old was taken, and the proximity felt like a final, crushing blow to the Guthrie family. But as the sun set over the Tortolita Mountains, a different reality emerged. This individual, while a victim of the desert, was not Nancy Guthrie. The discovery didn't bring Nancy home, but it did something else. It reignited a search that many feared was beginning to flicker out. It forced investigators to look closer at the drainage systems and the remote corridors of the foothills. And it led to the recovery of something even more specific. A piece of material, snagged on a greasewood bush less than a mile from the body, that forensic teams are now calling a priority match. How do we reconcile a $1 million reward that has gone unclaimed for weeks? Why is the FBI now retracing steps at a Mexican restaurant Nancy visited months ago? And what is the moon phase theory that has top profilers convinced the kidnapper made a catastrophic mistake on the night of the abduction? We are entering the 7th week. The tips are tapering, the frustration is boiling over, and for Savannah Guthrie, the search for her mother has moved from the headlines into a desperate, silent battle against time. If you have watched our previous coverage, you know how she vanished. Today, we are focusing on the now. If you want to help keep this investigation active, please share this video. The more people who see these new details, the harder it is for the person responsible to stay hidden. Since March 12th, the investigation hasn't just expanded, it has turned inward, facing intense scrutiny over how the Pima County Sheriff's Department is handling the lead. March 13th. Following the Kolb Road discovery, a secondary grid search was launched. Using signal sniffing technology, federal agents attempted to lock onto the specific frequency of Nancy's pacemaker. While no active ping was found, sources indicate they located a localized digital anomaly near a cell tower on the outskirts of the mountains. March 15th. A new controversy erupts. Hoda Kotb, Savannah's longtime co-anchor, hosted a wellness retreat in Arizona. Critics called the timing tone-deaf, given the proximity to the search. But insiders suggest the visit was actually a cover for a private meeting between the Guthrie family and high-level private investigators. The optics were debated, but the mission was clear. The family is no longer relying solely on public law enforcement. March 17th. Former FBI agent Jennifer Coffindaffer drops a bombshell on social media, proposing the moon phase theory. She pointed out that while the night of the abduction was a full moon with 100% illumination, the suspect was caught on neighbors' cameras on January 11th and 24th nights, with less than 50% light. Why does this matter? Because it proves the kidnapper wasn't just lucky. They were studying how the shadows fell on Nancy's property. They were practicing. March 18th. Sheriff Nanos faces a recall push. Amidst the search for a missing woman, the lead investigator is fighting for his professional life over clerical errors in his career history. For a community desperate for a leader, this distraction is the last thing the Guthrie case needed. The most baffling update since March 12th involves a return to the past. FBI agents have been seen multiple times this week at a local Mexican restaurant in Tucson. This isn't just a random lead. This is where Nancy and Savannah filmed a segment for the Today Show months before the kidnapping. The agents aren't looking for clues from the night of the disappearance. They are asking employees about creepy lingerers, specifically anyone who seemed overly interested in the filming or who tried to take photos of Nancy when the cameras weren't rolling. This suggests a chilling new profile. The suspect didn't choose Nancy Guthrie because of her address. They chose her because they saw her on television, identified her as vulnerable, and tracked her back to the foothills. Then there is the reflective ring. Forensic enhancement of the February 1st doorbell footage, the few frames recovered from the back-end software, shows a glint of light on the suspect's right hand. It isn't a wedding band. It's a thick, tactical-style ring, possibly made of tungsten or cobalt. In a world where the kidnapper wore 2 masks and 2 pairs of gloves, this one piece of vanity might be the thread that unravels the whole garment. Savannah Guthrie has returned to New York, but her heart remains in the Arizona dirt. She hasn't returned to the anchor desk. She is a daughter in limbo. The $1 million reward is still active. The family has made it clear they don't want a conviction, they want a homecoming. But as we move past the 7-week mark, the language from officials is shifting. They are no longer talking about when we find her, they are talking about resolving the case. The impact on the Tucson community is palpable. Neighborhoods that once left their doors unlocked are now fortified. Every strange guy with a hat down low, like the one reported by neighbor Aldine Meister, is now a potential predator. The desert, once a place of beauty, has become a vast, silent witness that refuses to speak. The tips are tapering off. That is the most dangerous phrase in any missing person case. When the phone stops ringing at the FBI field office, the case starts to go cold. We cannot let that happen to Nancy Guthrie. If you live in the Tucson area, specifically near the Catalina foothills or the Tortolita Mountains, look at your security footage from the last week of January one more time. Look for that Ozark Trail backpack. Look for that reflective ring. Please, share this video to your social media platforms. Use the hashtag #FindNancyGuthrie. We are the ones who keep the momentum going when the news cycle moves on. We will continue to monitor the forensics and the internal shakeups at the Sheriff's Department. As soon as a new update breaks, you will hear it here first. Nancy Guthrie is still out there, and someone, somewhere, knows exactly where she is. Since March 12th, the investigation has moved away from the idea of a random burglary. Pima County Sheriff Sheriff Nanos recently issued a chilling clarification. Investigators now believe Nancy Guthrie was specifically targeted. We believe we know why he did this, Nanos stated, though he stopped short of revealing the specific motive. This shift changes everything. It means the predator didn't just choose a house, they chose a person. They likely studied her connection to the national media and identified her as a high-value, vulnerable target. But as the case enters its 7th week, the official narrative is being challenged by a wave of local theories that are spreading faster than the facts. To keep this investigation from stalling, we need to separate the noise from the truth. There has been intense online speculation that the Guthrie family underwent secret polygraph tests this week at the sheriff's office. While polygraphs were indeed conducted at the department on March 15th, they were part of a routine, new hire process for the agency. Sheriff Nanos has officially cleared Nancy's family, including her son-in-law Tommaso Cioni, stating they have been gracious and cooperative since day one. Locals have reported a surge in activity near the border, leading many to believe Nancy was taken across into Mexico. While the FBI and Customs and Border Protection are involved, there is currently no physical evidence placing Nancy south of the border. The searches in Rio Rico were investigative leads that have not yet yielded a confirmed sighting. A persistent rumor claims an adult protective services worker accidentally walked through the blood evidence on Nancy's porch before it was processed. Independent investigators have raised concerns about a business card left on the door, but the Sheriff's Department maintains that the integrity of the DNA remains intact. That DNA, a mixed sample from several people, is currently being analyzed by a private lab in Florida, a process that is taking weeks longer than the public expected. As of March 19th, the investigation is facing a new, internal threat. Sheriff Nanos is now facing a formal recall effort. Critics argue that his handling of the Guthrie case, combined with clerical errors found in his own professional history, has created a crisis of confidence. While the politicians argue, the FBI is looking backward. They have returned multiple times to the Mexican restaurant Nancy visited months before she vanished. They aren't looking for forensics, they are looking for a face. They are interviewing staff about a creepy lingerer, someone who may have been stalking Nancy since her nostalgic tour of Tucson was televised. And then there is the moon phase theory. Profilers have noted that the suspect was caught on neighborhood cameras on January 11th and 24th dates with low light. But on the night of the abduction, the moon was nearly full. This suggests a predator who was practicing in the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike, and perhaps becoming bold enough to ignore the light. We will continue to track the DNA results from Florida and the results of the March 24th Board of Supervisors meeting. As soon as the next piece of this puzzle falls into place, you will hear it here first. Nancy Guthrie is someone's mother. She is someone's grandmother. And she deserves to be home. While the physical evidence has hit a bottleneck, FBI profilers have begun to build a striking picture of the individual who entered Nancy's home. Since March 12th, former agents like Jim Clemente have highlighted what they call high-stakes mistakes. The suspect arrived with a high degree of preparation: 2 masks, 2 pairs of gloves, and a full bodysuit to prevent shedding DNA. They knew to disable the doorbell camera. But they weren't professionals. They didn't anticipate the secondary thumbnail images or the internal motion sensors. In their rush to cover a camera with desert brush, they allegedly revealed a distinct tattoo on the underside of their right wrist. This tells us two things. First, this person is a mission-oriented offender. They didn't just want money, they wanted this specific victim. Second, they likely have a pre- and post-offense behavioral change that those close to them would have noticed. Since the disappearance, has someone in your circle become obsessed with the news? Have they suddenly changed their vehicle or their grooming habits? In the world of profiling, the mask eventually slips, and in the Guthrie case, the FBI believes that slip happened in the first 41 minutes of the abduction. Perhaps the most haunting aspect of the last week is the silence. In the early days of February, multiple ransom notes surfaced, demanding $6 million in Bitcoin. The Guthrie family made their stance clear: we will pay. They offered a $1 million reward for information and signaled a total willingness to meet any demand. But since the final deadline passed, the kidnapper has gone dark. There has been no proof of life, no further digital pings. This silence has fueled a wave of internal rumors and theories. While the family has been officially cleared of any involvement, the lack of communication has led some experts to wonder if the ransom was a smokescreen, a way to distract authorities while the suspect moved Nancy across state lines. If this was about money, the kidnapper would still be talking. The fact that they aren't suggests a much darker motive. Sheriff Nanos hinted as much on March 14th, stating that they believe they know why the crime was committed, but they aren't ready to tell the world. This leaves us with a terrifying question. Is Nancy still being held, or was the ransom just a cruel distraction for a crime that was already complete? 7 weeks. It is a time frame that no family should ever have to count. Savannah Guthrie remains off the air, her life paused as she waits for a phone call that may never come. We cannot let the search for Nancy Guthrie become a footnote in the news cycle. The person who did this is still walking among us. They might be wearing that tactical ring. They might still have that Ozark Trail backpack. If you have seen anything unusual in the Catalina foothills, or if you recognize the gait of the masked figure from the doorbell footage, call 1-800-CALL-FBI. Please, share this update. Keep Nancy's face on every timeline and in every group chat. The more people who know these specific details, the targeted nature of the crime, the DNA in Florida, the silence of the ransom, the smaller the world becomes for the person responsible. We will continue to follow every lead and every forensic break. For now, we wait, we watch, and we refuse to let the embers of hope go out.